All right, I'm just going for it. So, see ya. I think that level down there would be the Union Mine if it is anywhere. So that's the next step. But then this might also go down into the Union. Oh, these big rocks now. Take it easy. Oh. And just like this, we made our way.
Oh, this is awesome.
That's fucking wild. It's pretty terrifying.
Hello there! Today, my quest to go deeper to the unknown parts of Cerro Gordo's Union Mine continues. Right now, I am sitting at Cerro Gordo, California. And once upon a time, this was the largest silver mine in California's history. And the main mine here is called the Union Mine. And the Union Mine was created to get access to two different chimneys. And chimneys in this case means an ore body that goes up and down. And so on the north side, there's a chimney called the Union Chimney. And on the south side, there's a chimney called the Jefferson Chimney. And these were rich ore bodies of silver and lead. Now, exploring the Union Mine has become by far one of my favorite activities in the world. You know, down there, there's untouched history from the 1800s that by understanding and learning, I'm able to paint a more clear picture of Cerro Gordo's past for my time here and for all future generations that come here. And each piece of artifact that's found down there is just collectively creating a more clear picture of everything that happened at Cerro Gordo. And currently, the only way to enter the Union Mine is using a hoist, an original cage from the 1800s that slowly lowers you down into the mine. The problem with that is it requires a team and it requires a whole production to explore. And so over the past 18 months living here, I've been searching almost every day for another entrance, another way into this mine that would open it up so I could explore it further. After months of searching, I found the Jefferson Chimney. You know, the first time that we did the exploration of the Jefferson Chimney, we brought 300 foot of rope and it barely got us to the 86th level. Because you have to imagine the chimney starts far above the zero level of the mine. So you're starting above zero. So it took us 300 foot of rope to get to the 86. And the next level after the 86 is the 200. So in that case, we need to bring at least 450 foot of rope. So that's exactly what we did.
We're bringing rope this time. There's 150 feet in there. There's another 150 feet here, another 100 feet out there. We're getting there today. The goal today is to get to the 200 level.
I gotta say, on the second trip down, there was this excitement. You know, we had just opened up this for the very first time in who knows how long. You know, nobody had explored this side of the Union Mine in 100 years maybe. And so there was just this excitement of the unknown, you know, this excitement of discovery that we were gonna go down there and piece together a more clear picture of Cerro Gordo's past.
We're back to the belly of the beast. You ready for this time?
Yeah.
We're headed back down. Today, we have an additional 450 feet of rope, so it's down right to the 200 level, hopefully, maybe beyond. So we shall see. All right, and we're back. That is the pit. We are at the 86, which we now know, which you didn't know last time. And there's a hole here that runs parallel to the pit of death that we're gonna try to rope down. Seems like they put an eyelet in, you know, years and years and years ago.
There's a rope right here.
I'm also gonna avoid walking on this because one of these almost broke last time.
And so when it came time to go, I went first. Johnny stayed back to play guard. And as I started rappelling down, about 40 feet down, I started to see a bottom. I started to see rocks collected, these massive boulders. And I thought maybe that was a place where the chimney kind of moved directions.
What's up?
I explored around for a while and I realized that this pit that we thought went all the way down to the 1100 foot level had collapsed. There's no way to pass it. It was blocked at the 86 level at this point in time. Who knows what has happened over the past 150 years since they mined it, but the earth has moved and there's no longer to get past from the main pit of death.
I tweaked my back pretty good. But that's all right. We'll make it.
Is it bad?
Yeah, it's just got a very sketchy way up there.
I gotta admit, I was pretty bummed out. At first it was like, what, this is something that we had built up. We had planned for weeks to get down there, and it was over basically as quickly as it started. But then we both remember that there's this manhole. As our way down, there's this little hole that seemingly kind of went down and followed the main stope. And so that could be our second ticket to the way into the Union Mine.
So the first pit was a bust, but that hole with that rope may be our ticket down to the next level.
We looked down this pit and it was just another pit where you would throw the glow sticks down and see nothing after it fell. So once again, I decided to go first. I would say after about 50 feet, I found myself on this little platform. On the platform, I looked down and I could finally see my glow sticks 50 feet further below me. And suddenly I was stoked again, Suddenly it seemed like I was finding my way back in to a level of the Union Mine.
Well, after all that, I got some news. It seems that you may recognize this level because what I did is it just rappelled further down to where I already was. Unfortunately, this wasn't a new hole. This was just a different way to get back to the giant pit. Oh. Damn it. So unfortunately, that might be it for the Jefferson Chimney route in. Just doesn't seem like could get past this big collapse, which is frustrating. There must be another way in. I think that I just haven't found it quite yet.
So unfortunately, the quest down the Jefferson Chimney died right there. I gotta say, I was very bummed. I was expecting that to be a much bigger exploration. The crawl back up that time was much less joyous than our first experience down there when we discovered it connected to the 86. And when we got back up, we started debriefing, and that night I just started poring over these old reports of Cerro Gordo, and these maps of these mines, because in my mind, there's no way that it's collapsed for 1,100 feet. That just doesn't seem like it's possible. I think it's collapsed in a very small section, and beyond that it could clear up and once again give me access to all these unexplored levels of the Union Mine. And as I started flipping through this book, there was a ton of information about the 400 level and the 550 level. It seems that at the 400 level, the level actually goes beyond the Jefferson Chimney by quite a bit, which intrigues me. It must mean there's some types of 2 or 3 ways to get into the chimney at that point. And then if you read further, at the 550 level, it says that the Jefferson Chimney changes direction. When it changes direction down to the 550, it could very well be clear beyond that, just the way the rocks collapse. Or at the 400 level, there could be multiple ways to get into the Jefferson Chimney from there. So the plan as it stands is this, is later today, I'm gonna take the cage, unfortunately I have to take the cage, down to the 400 and the 550 and explore every single inch of those 2 levels. Leave no rock unturned. All right, just getting packed up for today's excursion. I got my maps, got my book. We're gonna find this Jefferson Chimney. Got my gear. Might just bring my lightweight harness today. Bring a bunch of rope. Gonna bring a shovel. We're gonna get into this mine. All right, well, the point of this exercise was to not use this cage, but here we are using the cage again. Tim, Brian, make sure we don't die.
Okay. If you start to free fall, I'll catch the cable.
All right, appreciate that.
All right. Now we get to be close friends for an amount of time.
30 minutes.
Okay.
All right, rapidly approaching the first stop of the day. This is the 550. This is hopefully a new connection. Ta-da. All right, and here we are at the 550. If I refer to my map, you will see the yellow is the 550 that I highlighted. And so you can see right now, we'd be going back that way, also to the left. And we need to go kind of back and then around to the right to get to the Jefferson Chimney. So that is the plan of action. A bunch of ore samples, some core samples, and we will just continue on our way. Jefferson Chimney. Okay, you see that? Exit. Look at all these old names. They would do all that with carbide. And the 550 level is a lot wetter than any other level that I could remember. A lot of the timbers down there are just soaked through. And I would say for the first little bit, we weren't finding too much. It was kind of leading to a lot of dead ends. And then eventually we turned this corner.
Now it's getting interesting. Is this a winds or just a room? Ooh, a shaft.
Good thing I brought rope. In front of us, there is call it a 100-foot hole, but the tunnel continues over there. And if you look, there's all sorts of dynamite boxes, core samples. I might see Levi jeans, so we want to get across, but the span is maybe 15, 20 feet. So Tim and I got very resourceful. We ended up finding an old rail, laying it across the side of this hole, and then I tied in a rope. Dude, I don't think I can do it.
What's your left foot?
I might try to just scoot my butt across. I think that's more dangerous. You know what I'm saying?
Put your weight on it and see. You locked?
I'm locked, yeah.
Okay.
And I kind of crab shimmied across this while looking down at just this 100-foot pit to get to the other side.
If you fall, tuck your head down so your helmet hits first.
There's a seam over there.
Huh?
How does it seem?
Yeah, it looks good. How's it look down?
Pretty terrifying.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're all good.
I think when I met you, you were afraid of a 20-foot ladder.
Yeah, I'm across.
Okay, you survived.
Defeated that hole. Now we're on the side. I don't imagine many people have explored in quite a while. And I'm rewarded immediately with jeans. Maybe once upon a time. Old dynamite box. Shovel. End of the road. Well, not quite what I was hoping for, but now I know at least.
We went back, we were exploring, and we turned this corner and there was a powder room.
Oh, a little power room.
And just inside the door to the left, there's this leather bag.
Hello. You don't be scared?
Oh man. Because of how wet it is in here.
No, look what's inside.
And inside the leather bag was sticks of dynamite. I'm talking like tons of full sticks. And typically, old dynamite can be extraordinarily dangerous. And I talked to a guy that works in the bomb squad for a police department, and he told me that it can be so sensitive at times that you could be walking even 20 feet away and a step could potentially set it off. In this case, Tim decided to dump the bag of dynamite on the ground to save the leather bag that it was in.
Jesus Christ.
What? Yeah, do you want the bag? Do you want
I
it?
guess now we have the bag, yeah.
I normally wouldn't do that, but it's so wet in here.
Right.
I figure all the gelatin or whatever it is washed away.
All right, well, that happened. And we didn't die. Exploring with Tim.
Because it was so wet, you didn't see any of that crystallization that you would have seen. And now, if you come here to Cerro Gordo, you can find the exact leather dynamite bag that we found down there back in the museum.
There's an old ore chute. We're heading back towards where the Jefferson Chimney would be. It would be back this way. This ore chute's crazy. So there's been track down here. What they would do is they would put the ore in there, slide on down here into the track. And the gooses continue. An early Banksy.
Being down in the mines is probably my favorite place at Cerro Gordo. Each of the trips satisfies this very basic human need just to be curious, and that surface level joy that comes with discovering new things. I just love the thrill of roping down a mine shaft, climbing over an old collapse, or finding an artifact from a century ago. But beyond the adventures, trips down the mine satisfy this deeper desire to better understand the unknown, to fill in the gaps that the history books leave behind, to better see a picture of the day-to-day existence of these people who called Cerro Gordo home before I did. It draws me even closer to this town and helps me feel connected to the past here. Each of the items I find came from somebody who lived here before me, and each item reflects on their existence here. A dynamite box, an old glove, a pair of jeans. They're all tangible evidence of history, and they all tell a story about who was there last. It's like one archaeologist said, it's not what you find, it's what you find out. And I think that's what drives me deeper and deeper into this mine. It just gives me this level of excitement and satisfaction I don't get anywhere else. A feeling that I've never really experienced anywhere else in my life. And maybe that's what keeps me here, month after month, seeking out a better understanding of this world around me.
damn.
And unfortunately, after, a couple hours of exploring around, it seemed that the 550 level, or at least the 550 level that's accessible from the hoist, is a no-go.
Well, no luck on this level connecting, but did get this nice, nitroglycerin soaked bag, which, will dry out. It'll be nice. Be my new exploration bag. Now, we're not done yet. Still got the 400 to go check out.
And so we got back in the cage and we went up to the 400 level.
Hello there, 400 level. All right.
Yep.
So we're gonna go, it looks like it goes over there, not too far, and then over, and we wanna go right. If we can go right back there, over to the Jefferson Chimney. Let's see what this level has in store.
And for some reason, I've always breezed over the 400 level. It's never seemed interesting to me. It's always one that I've passed by and never stopped at.
It says exit this way again, so I'm wondering if all those exits were leading to the Union Chimney was over this way. The Jefferson was behind us. So maybe they were all leading to that.
So I think, like where the Union shaft is, there must be like a vein of soft rock that just runs the whole depth of the mountain.
Okay.
And that's where we keep getting to.
Right.
That soft clay.
Oh, we got a little treasure chests over here. Got a bunch of old dynamite boxes. Carbide, miner's lamp. Bunch of carbide, a bunch of dynamite. 1934. 1934. They're probably come back here to use the restroom, unfortunately, amongst all these dynamite boxes. And that's why that might be 90-year-old toilet paper. So we'll move on.
There's all sorts of stuff in this level. There's dynamite boxes. There was shoes.
Look at this. Holy cow. Oh, man.
There was this old hoist up on this platform that you had to rock climb up to for no real reason. I don't know why the hoist was there, unless they had put back in a false floor that I was walking on.
Still greasy. That guy did a good job.
And so Tim and I really started having a ball on the 400 level. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot of different nooks and crannies.
Did you go around this yet?
No, I was waiting for you.
All right. Nice. Look, more of these exit signs. Whoa. Let her drill.
Towards the end, we were running out of time. We had told the guys up top that we had a certain time date. Some of the guys that were helping had to go back home, to see their wives and have dinner and stuff. And I remember thinking, well, we've only explored half of the 400 level. We haven't even explored the south side of the 400 level. And the south side of the 400 level is the level that potentially leads into the Jefferson Chimneys. So Tim and I decide, hey, you know what? Let's just go take a quick sprint. Let's just run through there, see if anything's there, And as we started going on the south part of the 400 level, we realized how much more we had to explore. This thing branched just 100 different ways. And right as we were about to turn around, right as our alarms were going off that we needed to make our way back to the hoist, I saw blue. And I gotta say, every time that I see blue, my heart skips a little bit, because if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that one of my borderline obsessions, we'll call it, is finding Levi jeans down in the mine.
I think I might have found them. I don't want to get too excited. You see the buttons? Oh my God. They say Levi Strauss. What the guys, guys, it happened. Tim, I found Levi Strauss. Dude, all the buttons, Levi Strauss, Levi Strauss, Levi Strauss. Look at the button. See the Strauss? See Strauss?
Yeah, that's apparently Levi's.
Ha ha! Damn! Yes!
Two questions. Why are Levi's interesting and why are there be Levi's down in the mine? First, Levi's invented the first pair of blue jeans ever in the world. Not denim, that was already created, but blue jeans for California silver miners in the 1870s. And this, Cerro Gordo, is a California silver mine that was active in the 1870s. And the reason that these jeans are so interesting is they're a collector's item. I mean, imagine how iconic the blue jean are, and Levi's invented the very first pair that was worn by miners. And so for that reason, they can be really attractive to denim collectors. You know, people that are really into that piece of clothing will pay upwards of $100,000 sometimes for these jeans. And for me, it's never about the $100,000. You know, that's not the point of finding these jeans, but I think the $100,000 shows the scarcity and the rarity of these Levi jeans. And what keeps me going is just rumors from the past. You know, there's always been rumors at Cerro Gordo that Levi's were found here. You know, I've heard rumors that they were pulled out of a mine over there. I've heard rumors that they were pulled out of the hoist house, that they were pulled out of the change room next to the hoist house, that somebody stole 5 pairs from the Union mine itself. But I'd never seen any with my own eyes. You know, it would make sense. This was a massive mine in the 1870s, but I had never found any. So all I was going on were these rumors to fuel this wild goose chase, you know, wild blue goose chase that I've been on for the last 18 months. I was stoked, you know, this is something I was looking for 18 months, and these jeans were in terrible condition, you know, they're falling apart. But immediately what it did for me, it wasn't about, you know, this is the perfect pair that I'm gonna sell for $100,000, or even the perfect pair for the museum. It was, the rumors are true. You know, these Levi jeans do exist, and they are at Cerro Gordo.
Now these jeans, you know, I've waited a very long time to be able to put a pair of Levi jeans in this museum. I don't think I'm done yet. Obviously this pair has seen some better days. I'm gonna let it dry out, see how it turns out. You know, if you look, you can definitely see, you know, a lot of the seams. There's even the logo over here that I don't want to touch too much right now before they dry out. But one day there'll be a beautiful pair standing right there. And this is why I love exploring the mines, you know, because everything that you see in here, I found in the different adventures, and it reminds me of, you know, the 700-foot level and getting that. Dave Sparks, when we found that in the different dynamite boxes, 32 bottles over there when I found those with the backhoe, you know, and everything else. And it just makes me excited for the future, you know, to keep exploring, keep finding things. You know, when I do one day find an intact pair of Levi's, I can continue telling people the story of, you know, Levi's history and their history within mining camps. And I'm excited about all that.
And so this week I have to thank, you know, the Union Mine for changing my mood, changing my spirit, making me a lot more excited. You know, a lot more excited to share things that are exciting news and not just, you know, controversial news necessarily. And so that was the couple days. I'm really excited about what, you know, the future holds. I'm excited to finally find that pair of Levi jeans. I'm excited to find the next pair of Levi jeans now, a more intact pair. But as always, I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. You know, I try to broadcast the restoration process up here, the highs and the lows, the stresses and the, you know, ceremonies and everything in between. And these last few weeks have been pretty tumultuous for me. You know, it's taken a toll, but the thought of sharing more excites me. You know, it gets me excited to get back out there and adventure. So I thank each and every one of you that checks out these videos. You know, you're keeping me going, you know, whether you know it or not. I hope one day that a lot of you can come up here, experience Cerro Gordo for yourself. Check out the Levi jeans that I found and all the other things. I mean, even today I found this sign. But anyways, till next time, I'm signing out. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week.